Most traders tend to rush their success and their profits and trying to reach a specific goal in a very short period of time. And to be honest, that's that can hurt your success and hurt your trading. And so I want to give you guys something to think about, a concept, something that I say a lot. You might have heard me say it on stream quite a bit. But we're going to talk about something that I think is very, very important. And again, this video is going to be a little bit shorter than the other ones. This is pretty direct to the point. And so one thing I want to mention here is, again, that the market is going to be here forever, and there is no need to rush or to try to force your success or force growing accounts in a very fast manner, right? There's no point, because it's going to absolutely hurt your journey, right? It's going to hurt your journey. So please don't do that. But let's just kind of dive in. Let me share my tablet screen here, and let's kind of walk through a couple of things, right? Let's walk through a couple of things. I want to give you guys an example, right? So before I jump into something, actually here, you know what? We're going to do the same time. So I'm going to draw a calendar here, right? So we're going to say that this is a calendar, and excuse my handwriting, right? Here's week 1, week 2, and then we'll say like week 1, 2. Excuse my handwriting. Okay, so let's just say like let's just say this is November. Okay, let's just say that's November, right? And then below this, and again, this is going to be an example, right, that I'm going to give you guys. In fact, you know what? Let's just draw another calendar over here, right? We're going to draw another calendar over here. Okay, so this is November. Okay, this is November. Let's just say that you are trying, I want you guys to really think about what is more sustainable in this, okay? When I give you guys these examples, I want you to really think about what is more sustainable, right? Let's just say November here, you make 5K, right? Let's say here you do 10K. Let's say here you lose 15K. Here, maybe you make 2K, right? And then on this over here, let's just say you make maybe 2K. Maybe over the week here, you make 1K. Maybe you lose 500, right? Maybe here you lose 200, right? Two very, very different examples, right? Very, very different, okay? Which one do you think is more sustainable over the long haul, right? Which one? Which one do you think your emotional capital, your mental capital, your account itself, like which one do you think would be the most sustainable, right? It would be this one. It'd be November. Of course, they're both November. It would be this one here, right? The one on the right. This one would be the most sustainable, right? Even though the numbers are smaller, because you are not taking so much mental equity and energy in these days here, right? You are going to feel much better about this one versus the other one, right? Think about it for a second. If you were like up 5K one week, down 6K the next week, and then 10K the next week, and then down 5 and then down 5, right? That's going to eat up a lot of your energy, right? And so what you really want to do is take a step back. And to give you guys an example, like I'm really tie this in here, right? Let's just say that there is someone that's trying to lose weight, right? Let's just say someone's trying to lose weight. Okay, so I'm gonna draw a calendar here. Golly, that's horrible. I'm gonna draw another calendar. Let's just say that there is somebody doing like that in the keto diet, right? Someone's doing the keto diet. Let's just say that someone's trying to lose weight. On average, generally, you really want to keep your weight loss around like 1 pound a week, right? At least in my experience. But say you're doing the keto diet. Here you lose 5 pounds, right? Here you lose, say, 4 pounds. Okay, here you lose 4. And then maybe you do 3 here, and then maybe another 5 here, right? chances are if you're losing that amount of weight, and that's a lot, right? That's a lot of weight. If you're losing that amount of weight in a single month, the rebound is huge. Why? Because your body is not, it's not really adapted or able to function properly losing that amount of weight. And so when you start going back to eating other things, you rebound, which means what? It's not sustainable, right? Not sustainable. That amount of weight loss in a single month, it's not sustainable. Whereas if you focused on sustainable strategies of losing weight, right? No, I'm not saying keto is bad, but if you focus on sustainable strategies of losing weight, the chances of you rebounding here are far less than you rebounding here, or it might take you longer to say if you went back to your eating habits, it would take you longer to rebound by following this method versus following this method here, right? So tying that back, going back into this, don't get so caught up in thinking that you have to make a shit ton of money every single week. You don't, right? You don't need to make, you don't need to make 10K this week, 15K this week, 5K this week, or 8K that week, right? Though that would be nice, right? That would be nice. That would be incredible. We would all love to have that. And these weeks eventually come, right? They do. These types of weeks are not, you can have them, but majority of the time it's a capital issue. It's the amount of money that you're trading with that don't allow you to have these types of months yet. It's a capital issue. Eventually you do get there, right? Focusing on taking small, right? Taking small hits. Maybe you lose 300 here, right? Because nobody's perfect. Taking small, you're going to feel much better about this than you are this, at least right now, right? You're going to feel much, much better with this because it's sustainable. You're going to feel good about it, right? If you don't have the capital to be doing this, your stress levels, just say you did, right? Just say you did make this, but you don't have the proper capital to do it. Your stress levels and mental capacity is going to be far, far depleted by making this because of the capital requirement and the leverage that you have to do that, right? You're not going to feel good about it. Trust me. You're going to feel like shit. You're going to be really drained, right? But if you focus on the sustainability of things, this is going to be far more repeatable than what you see up here, right? And you want to focus on what's repeatable, what's sustainable, what can you do time and time or get close to time and time again, right? When you don't have the capital to do like these big numbers, you're not going to be able to do it time and time again. Maybe you get lucky one month, but then the next month you absolutely get torched, right? You want to focus on something that is sustainable and repeatable, because repeatable, kind of tying it all back, is sustainable, right? Something I always say to you guys, if you win the weeks, you win the month, right? And if you win the months, you win the year. Okay. This right here is what matters, right? This is what you need to focus on. This is what really helped me. Like, it really made the shift in how I think as a trader and helped me think like a trader. It really helped me turn the corner in my trading, right? Because this right here, everything that you see here, if you, again, write this down, this focusing on the big picture, the long term, is what helps you win at this game. It is not the short term. It is not the 1 week. It is not the 1 month. It is the actual year. If you win the year, that's when you become profitable, right? Everything in between the weeks. So like if you go to like into the days of the week, right? They don't mean shit, right? If you draw it out like throughout the week, right? If you draw Monday, let's go Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, right? Let's just say that you were red on Monday, red on Tuesday, red on Wednesday, but then you had big green Thursday and big green Friday. Okay. Well, your green days are now bigger than what you had on those 3 red days. Those 2 days that you were green are now larger than those 3 red days that you had. And so now on that week, that particular week, you won the week. Okay. So if you can find a repeatable process of just winning the week like this, right? Because you're not going to be perfect. You're going to have red days. I have red days. Everybody has red days. Nobody is immune to having red days, right? You might have perfect weeks. There are some people do. I've had them, but you are eventually going to have red days. But if you can have a repeatable process that is, again, and I'm going to refer back to it, sustainable and repeatable, that is going to help you win those weeks. Okay. And when that compounds, chat, when that compounds, then you win the month. And then what happens when you win the months? You win the year. And you get to look back on your entire year and see what it is that you did, right? And that one shit, when you see that, chat, I promise you, if there's anything that I can promise you that's not financially like guaranteed, right? I can promise you this. When you look back on an entire year of work and you see the progress that you've made, you no longer get so zoomed in on the small little days, the small little weeks. You no longer care. You don't care because all you now see is this, the year. I did this year. I made X this year, right? The amount of progress I made this year was far more than what I made last year, right? My percentage of turns this year was this. You no longer care about what you do here during the days. You don't care. And that, and going back into a previous video that we did on those red days that we talked about, being an identity thing, right? Being an identity issue, that becomes fixed right then and there. Because now you've shifted your focus to what you can do over 365 days, right? That's where it gets fixed. And so again, the reason why you see people blow up, and maybe you even blow up yourself, is because you get too zoomed in on what you are doing here. And while it may matter longer term, that doesn't matter short term. Okay? It doesn't matter. It never will. It will only matter as if you actually do have red days consistently over and over and over again, and you don't find a system to correct it, right? That's the only time that matters. But if you have a system and a repeatable process, 1 to 2 red days, a few red days here and there aren't going to hurt you, right? They're not going to hurt you because you are focused on sustainable growth and sustainable processes, right? That's what matters in trading. Think of it like a business, right? Think of it like a business. When you look at some of the biggest tech companies in the world, you look at Apple, you look at Amazon, Tesla, Nvidia, Google, who else? Like to all these big tech companies, right? Do you think they built those empires on unsustainable processes and systems? No, they didn't. They got to where they are. They built that empire because they had something repeatable. Think about that. They had something they could repeat over and over and over again to grow as much as they did. It's all process. That's all it is. And that's all trading is. It will always and forever be process. If you are trading off discretion, while you may get lucky, eventually you're going to lose, right? Process matters. Sustainable process matters. And that is where that's what you see right here. Sustainable growth and sustainable processes, right? Hope you guys got value out of that. If you did, be sure to like this video, hit that subscribe button to catch more of these videos. We're going to be doing a lot of them. Hope you guys have a good rest of your day. I will see you in the next video. Cheers.